What do you see from Philly's run game, just the different guys they use and everything?
You know, they have a lot of different schemes, a lot of different ways they try to attack you, whether it's, you know, falling back with the Y and just different gap schemes. But, you know, they got different bodies too. They got, you know, Blunt, who's, you know, bigger back, but they also have smaller packs. But I feel like we'll be ready for them. They're going to come out and they're going to try to, you know, throw those, you know, little wrinkles out there. But I feel like, you know, with a good film study, we'll be fine.
The thing about Carson Wentz that impresses you the most is what?
I would have to say he does not like to slide. So I've seen a couple times him try to run somebody over, which I think, you know, not too many quarterbacks do that. So, you know, hoping, you know, it gives me an opportunity. It'd be great.
Is this the longest you've ever been in one defensive scheme for a stretch?
In my life? Yeah, definitely. You know, been in this for 6 years. Been able to not only been in it for 6 years, but been with the same group, you know, for a long period of time. So, you know, you get to learn somebody and really understand, you know, how they think, and they get to understand how you think. And I think that's what allowed us to play fast. So, you know, we've been very, very fortunate, you know, to be in this scheme, but, you know, have the same guys to grow up with.
And I guess, how do you then pick which, because you talked about working on drops and, you know, making sure that you're recognizing routes. How do you pick what the next thing is that you want to master with this scheme?
I think you just go and watch film and, you know, kind of look at all the opportunities that you had that you know, might have missed out on. And that's kind of what I did. I looked back and, you know, I felt like there was some opportunities in coverage for me to make, you know, either the quarterback hold on to the ball a little bit longer to get the, you know, rush there, or, you know, create a play myself. So I just kind of looked at that and picked that as the thing to improve.
Pete talked about you. He said you worked a lot on improving your pass coverage. Was that just watching film in the offseason, or what did you do to sort of do that?
Yeah, it was just being mindful of it. It was a lot of watching film. I feel like I watched a lot of film in the offseason, and then especially around OTA time, I was just really conscious of my drops and what's behind me, what's in front of me, and you know, just wanted to make sure that, you know, that area in my game improved. So a lot of it was just film study and you know, taking chances at practice and, you know, doing it in the game.
What do you remember about last year's game, the Eagles game?
We won. I remember, you know, it was a pretty good game. It was a fun game. I remember Cam having a pick. I remember, I think Cliff had a sack that game too. It just was a fun game for the defense. You know, we had a lot of TFLs, I feel like we had a lot of aggressive hits, and it was just a fun game. I feel like in the game we were happy with.
Is that good to know going into Sunday that you beat them relatively recently?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. Last
Right.
year's last year. I'm pretty sure they don't care what happened last year. They're 10-1 right now. So, you know, we have to, you know, come in with the same mentality to do our job. You know, fly around, hit them, and you know, pull the win out. You know, I feel like we're very confident that we can do that.
What looks different about their offense this year compared to what we saw?
I would probably say, obviously, Wentz. You know, he's definitely more confident. You know, making more plays, and you can tell he has a better grip of the offense, and, you know, you open the playbook a little bit more for him, and you know, he's making really good decisions, whether, you know, hold on to the ball, run with it, or, you know, get it out. And he's finding open receivers and tight ends, and you know, the run game looks really good. You know, Garrett Blunt adds a, you know, new element for the run game. So I think they complement the run game and pass game really well.
People are starting to throw your name out a little bit for Defensive Player of the Year. Is that something you've ever set as a goal, or is that something you pay attention to, sort of the talk about that?
Yeah, I definitely, you know, I've set it as a goal. You know, it's always been a goal of mine, you know, wanting to win. I mean, I think, you know, you look at all the, you know, players that they consider, you know, greatest linebackers to play, like Ray Lewis, Ken Norton, you know, Brian Urlacher, those guys, and you see what they got to accomplish during their careers, and, you know, so you want to hope that, you know, your career kind of does the same, if not better than that. So it's definitely something that I would be honored with, but I feel like as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, it'll work itself out.
There's a perception it's a little bit harder for inside guys to get that historically, just because maybe you don't put up as many sacks or whatever. Is that I don't, I know that's you can't really go out of your position that way and do things, but is that, do you feel like that's a hindrance at all for a guy who plays in the middle, or?
Kind of, not really, but I feel like they don't, I mean, they don't necessarily appreciate, tackles as much. So, you can't just get it off tackles. You got to do more. You got to do interceptions. You got to do sacks. A guy can have 10 sacks and they'll just, he can win it. You know what I mean? So, you definitely have to do more. And I feel like the inside linebackers that have won in the past understand that and have done more. And, I can do more, so I'll be fine.
Do you feel like you're playing as well as you ever have?
I feel like I'm playing really well. I feel like I'm on it. I feel like I'm in a good groove. I feel like I got a good grasp of the defense. I feel like I'm, calling plays, seeing plays a lot cleaner than I have. So I feel faster.
As long as you've been here, this team has been a team that gets better as the year goes on, especially last quarter or whatever of the season. What do you think goes into this team finishing season strong?
I think the emphasis on the little things, like the details of everything. I think we keep that emphasis throughout the year, and I feel like as the season goes on, I feel like some teams tend to get away from the smaller things and the detailed things, and I feel like that's something that we get to do a good job on. Coaches do a good job on emphasizing all the time. So whether it's tackling, whether it's how we prepare during the week. We tend to stay on those details, and I think that's what separates us towards the end of the season because the teams don't, stay on those details towards the end.
Your second year, you guys were 10-1 at one point. What is, if you can remember, what does that, I guess, feel like as a team to have that run of success like that?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I just remember a lot of winning, a lot of laughter. It kind of just feels like you understand you're going to get everybody's best game, and I just remember teams would put in plays that they hadn't practiced, had put on film, so we just had to prepare for a lot of things because when you got top dog, everybody wants to take you down, do whatever they can to take you down. So I remember it just being fun, trying to figure out what new play or new concept that they were going to try to come in and put, and we were usually on it.
Who's the better second-year quarterback, Russell Wilson or Carson Wentz?
Russell Wilson.
Because.
Huh?
Because.
I mean, the numbers say for themselves. I mean, look. I mean, you can't really compare those two guys. It's just the way Russell plays and the way the quarterback he is, the composure, the guy. Russell's my guy, so that's what I'm going to go with.
You've always been a leader on this team, but with Cam out and Richard out, has that role changed at all?
I mean, I feel like it just, you just have to, do more. I feel like Coach was saying earlier, some of the communication that, Cam would have, me and KJ have to take over, or, I have to make a little bit more calls and make sure everything is set. But I think it's just, we have to communicate more, because a lot of it too is, we're playing with guys that we hadn't played before, that, we haven't seen for the last 6 years that we've now been playing. So you have to, you can't just leave everything to, the verbal communication that you may have established with Cam or Earl or Sherm. You have to make sure that everybody's on the same page and everybody's, thinking the same thought. Because, when Cam and Sherm is there, you know that you're thinking the same thought. When they're not, it's like you're wondering if they are or not. So you just have to make sure it's a lot clearer.
Anything else? Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.